How long did it take me to get my residence card and how long I was able to find a job? Okay, let's answer that. It took me 2 weeks to get my residence card, but that's not the case because when you arrive here, you have to, of course, do this enrollment in the university physically. You have to register to the, I think it's a municipality. Within 3 days upon your arrival, you have to register yourself, and yeah, and they will give you mail settle. And you also have to open a bank account, Austrian bank account. It's required here in Austria. And yeah, you have to go to your dorm manager to ask for this physical contract and sign some documents. Almost 2 weeks to gather to complete those stuff because, like I told you before, I was having a hard time enrolling myself here, so it took me longer to apply for this residence card because when you get your when you go to the immigration, I think it's immigration. When you go there and uh, say that apply that you will get your physical residence card, there are some documents that you need to submit. I think it took me 2 weeks to gather all the documents needed, and then when I went there, I submitted, and then it also took 2 weeks for me to get my residence card. So all in all, I had 1 month of getting my residence card. But yeah, when you apply, you only have to wait for 2 weeks, and the card will be available, and you have to pick it up by yourself. Maybe you might ask why it took me 1 month to get my residence card. How about my residency here? Am I legal? Yes, you are still legal because even if you don't have the residence card yet, remember you have the visa that you apply when you're still in your home country. So that visa usually it is 3 months, 3 months length of visa of legal stay here. So you have 3 months to complete all of these documents and apply to the immigration or something and get and pick up your residence card. So you have enough time to do those things. About my job, actually, few weeks, no, few days after I arrived here, I applied for a private job because in my dormitory where I'm living, they have a Heim bar. Heim bar is like a bar inside the dorm, and they operate it once a month. So they need a waitress or some bartender, something like that, mixing some drinks. So I applied in there, but that's only once a month, and I was only paid 20 euros for once a month. So of course it's not enough, and that job is not actually legal. It's private, and it doesn't have any work permit. But the job that you needed to survive here is this legal job. Is this job the 20 hours per week job? This is with work permit. So for that kind of job, it took me 2 months to get this job because it's really hard. I was having a hard time looking for a job here. One reason is I don't have the language. My Deutsch that time was very basic, like Guten Morgen, Tschüss, Entschuldigung, that's all. So it's really very hard to look for a job if you don't have the language. But even if it took me 2 months to have this part-time job with a work permit, I before the 2 months I already have some small private jobs, like I work 3 hours in a week for one family, or 3 hours, 3 hours every 2 weeks. So I have some mini jobs. So that was I was still earning even if it was not stable. This 2 months time that I am telling you, it's actually more than 2 months because when I applied for this job, and they submitted my documents to the AMS because um, when you are an international student, you need to have this permission from the AMS for your work permit. That time it took me longer to have this permission from the AMS because you have to wait for the AMS approval. So it took me 1 month also. So all in all, I think it took me around roughly 3 months to have this part-time job, the 20 hours per week. because you really need to wait for this approval from the AMS, and sometimes it will take longer. For me, it really took longer. It took me 1 month, and some of my colleagues in the dormitory, it only took them 2 weeks, some 3 weeks. So it really depends upon your luck with the AMS. And sadly, even if I found this 20 hours per week job, after 1 month and a half of working, I lost this job. For some reason, I lost this job, so I was unemployed again for 1 whole month. So yeah, think about it. If I didn't had settling allowance that time, or I didn't had this mini jobs, these private jobs that I had, it would really be hard for me to survive here because I lost the job. So that's why I'm telling you, when you go here, always prepare your money, like around 6 months worth of living here, worth of living expenses, because it's really hard because shit happened here. For private jobs, these private jobs is not included to the 20 hours per week. These private jobs are private. You should not tell the AMS about it. You should not tell. I should only tell those trusted people about it because it's illegal. And I know that most of the students here work for this kind of job. Most of the students, even those waitress, I mean those waitress that I work in the restaurant, sometimes they work over 20 hours per week, and their employer just pay them by cash because it's really not allowed to work 20 more than 25 hours per week with a AMS approval if you're a student. Actually here, the regulatory allowed working hours for students is only 20 hours per week. My job is 25 hours per week, so I'm exceeded 5 hours more, and that 5 hours I had to pay taxes for that 5 hours because I already exceeded the 20 hours per week as a student. So every last just last January, I received this bill from, I don't know where's that bill coming from. It's the tax that because I work more than 5 hours per week here, and I'm a student. And what can I do? I need money, and I need to save because I have a lot of plans here, and I need money in order to do that. And you should always keep in mind that working part time is just part time. Anytime the employer can fire you. That's the sad thing about working part time here. Because when I lost my, that was my first job that I lost. When I lost my first job, the boss, the supervisor, just told me that we need to lessen the people because the weather was not nice and the business is not doing good. So we need to lessen the people. And I was the first candidate because I don't have the language. And that's it. Like very immediate. Like today I was told that I lost the job, and the next day I don't have the job.